Why now of all times? It happened just as the banquet was wrapping up smoothly, and the brilliant swordplay exhibition from the military had ended. Suddenly, an unknown monster rushed in and began to eat people at random.
Just eating people? Sheesh.
Several of my subordinates put their bodies on the line to protect the women, also fell prey, their limbs ripped off in a gruesome display of disfigurement. Fortunately, the king wasn't able to come due to official business. I can't let the king face a monster such as this.
Why do I feel like Noel was responsible for that official business, but I'll leave it for now. What kind of monsters are these?
The monster had a strange appearance, looking like both a tiger and a wolf. Its fur was jet black, and the skin exposed by the slash was also black. It shouted and jumped at me furiously, spreading its hatred. Shut up, beastie! Ugh, this guy. Its attack was heavy, and it took everything I had to evade its claws. I guess the monster didn't expect me to have evaded it either. It jumped back and narrowed its eyes to assess my strength. Lord Suren! Let's retreat and wait for backup! Are you stupid? If we fall back, everyone's gonna be that thing's dinner! The women go first, men afterwards! There were entrances and exits at the venue, in order to limit the number of people entering and exiting. This ultimately became a bad idea, as the exits were crowded with people trying to escape. Moreover, most of the women, who are inferior in strength, are being pushed aside by the men and cannot get out. Hurry up! Yes! The two beasts kept a certain distance, looking for an opportunity to attack. Most of the people were overwhelmed by their devilish appearance. With only a few of my subordinates left and myself, I may not last long. My survival instincts are constantly urging me to escape. I knew this was all a bad idea. I cursed at the king, who wasn't even here, and gripped my sword handle. Even if I lose this battle, my pride as a soldier won't allow me to turn my back on the enemy and run away. Especially if there's something behind me that I have to protect. I can't fall back even a single step. As I glared at them with determined conviction in both eyes, one of the monsters turned the tables and looked at the women. Before I could head towards them, I invited it to me by pointing the tip of my sword at it. They're just skin and bones, nothing delicious there. You want high-quality meat, don't you, hungry boy? Clenching, the patterns drawn on my skin twitch. The monster's crazed gaze came my way, as if drawn in by it. In this tense air, we both moved slowly, looking for an opportunity to attack each other. For a moment, my center of gravity was thrown off by stepping on a pebble, and the monster roared loudly. The monster moved swiftly, unexpectedly given its huge body, and pounced on me. I twisted at the last minute, switching my center of gravity and dropping from the waist.
Alright, we get a fighting CG. I'm a fan of those.
Whoa! I thrust out my long sword and swung it forward. The blade severed bone and flesh, and I could feel the sensation of cutting flesh through my palm. The monster, having its own momentum used against it, disintegrates like a fish in midair. Its flesh is unusually tough. No one else would be able to cut it. Gah! Almost instinctively, I bent down. Immediately after, a black arm passes where my head used to be. Even while I was rolling away, sharp claws followed, piercing the ground. Lord Suren! Don't interfere! One of my subordinates, in an attempt to help, thrust his sword at the monster from behind, but the blade stopped about 3 inches short of piercing the creature. The angry beast dexterously twists its neck in midair and sucks the subordinate's head into its mouth. No! Stop! As if mocking the human spirit, the monster spat out the ripped-off head towards me. I feel something warm on my cheek and lose myself for a moment. The monster's claws targeted that opportunity, and I came to my senses at the last moment. Damn it! As soon as I started running, the monster jumped at me. I saw it coming and slid my body to the ground. Ah! By the time the monster noticed what it was aiming for, I already had my sword in my other hand. Immediately after passing under the giant's body, I stretched out and thrust my long sword up in a fit of rage. Die! Ah! I pierced through its jet black body with all my strength. The skewered monster went flaccid, screaming out a scream similar to a person's despair. Seriously, this is why I hate working on my days off. I knew it was the right call to stand our ground. If we'd pulled out, there would have been more casualties. As I went to sit down, relieved, I heard a faint voice behind me. Oh, you're still here. I looked over at her, breathing with her shoulders, and saw that the woman was unable to stand up out of fear. I approached her with a wry smile, and as I reached out towards her...
Ah!
Huh? I see something other than myself in the woman's eyes. She opens her eyes at what was in the air over my shoulder. Looking back, I confirmed the sword that should have been sticking in the monster in a huge shadow.
No!
I'm not gonna make it. From this position, I can't get the woman, dodge, and get away. I made a quick decision. I pulled the woman into my chest. They say when the pain becomes excessive, you can't comprehend it, but I should be feeling at least something.
Did our girl come in and save her boy?
With cold sweat pouring down my temples, I opened my eyes. Huh? The monster, with an arrow deep into its right eye, is hunched over and moaning. I can't believe the reality of it at all. Stupidly, I froze for a moment. The figure that appeared from behind spoke, as if rebuking me.
I'm back, baby! Man, what a boss. I love our girl. Coming in like a hero. It's not over yet. When I got there, Suren looked unusually stunned. Thinking it odd, I drew my bow and prepared for the next attack.
That was close.
The stunned Suren gave a short thank you and pushed the woman he was holding behind us. It felt a bit rough, but it can't be helped in the current situation.
Just have to put up with it for now.
He picks up the broken sword that had fallen at my feet and quickly adjusts his stance. Where's your sword?
There.
I looked in the direction he indicated with his chin and saw Suren's sword sticking out of the monster's belly. What are you going to do?
I'll think about that once I take out its other eye. You cover me with that.
We've reached the peak of recklessness now.
I'm counting on you.
Man, he just instantly was like, okay, we fighting together. Not like,
Alright, woman, get behind me while I protect you.
he's like, respect. Let's do this as a team. I like that. Wait! Honestly! Ah, yes! A couple fighting back-to-back picture. I'm weak for those! Yes. Yes to all of this. Alright, the shot up a few points. Not gonna lie, just this moment made a big difference. The monster jumped back, wary of Suren, who had started running. I read its movements and show arrows where it was moving to. Ah! Even if the wounds aren't fatal, the pain must be accumulating. Its movement is slowing down. While it was distracted by this, Suren was controlling its retreat.
I'm gonna finish this.
In the midst of this rapidly changing battlefield, I drive the monster to the wall, reading Suren's intentions. When I fired my last arrow, I was strangely confident of victory.
Oh!
Suren kicked up the wall, twisted in midair, and thrust his sword into one of the monster's eyes as he fell. Even broken, it was deep enough to reach its brain for sure. Its huge body slumped down, emitting a grating voice.
It's time for payback.
At the same time of his declaration, he gripped the hilt of the sword that was stuck in its stomach.
Ooh!
Did you get it?
Really? This better be the end of it.
The monster, whose stomach was split in two, collapsed silently. The sound of the giant falling down echoed through the air as a reddish-black color spread on the stone pavement. Is it dead?
Yeah, finally. By the way, I was thinking.
Walking briskly, Suren approached me, grabbed my hand, and lifted it up. As I was stuck not knowing what he wanted to do, our fists lightly bumped into each other. Bro. This guy bro-fisted me. Is this one of these victory gestures that men do? Something like that? Yeah, you got bro-fisted.
This is the first time we've worked together as a couple.
Huh? I tilted my head, frowned, and then remembered. Certainly in Nasla, there's a custom where the married couple will cut a roasted pig together at the marriage ceremony. Okay, I mean, I prefer cake personally, but sure. I let out a deep sigh as I looked sideways at the monster's corpse that had been cut in half. I really didn't need this ominous, stupidly big pig. This was a collaboration without any grace.
It suits us, doesn't it? We were in sync, just like our fun times in bed.
Oh my god! If I look at him with half an eye, he'll give me that nasty smile. Honestly, he really does have a nasty personality. If he were just a violent man, I could harbor only feelings of resentment. But then he shows kindness and the strength to risk his life to protect a woman. Why? At this rate, Suren isn't just a Nasla man, but... I might see him as a person, same as me, or see him as a regular guy. I think he would prefer if you saw him as like a regular guy. I don't think he would want you to put him on the same level as you. Probably not. I mean, we've heard multiple times by this point about, like, he wants respect and he's, like, the man of the house and she's the woman, blah, 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 blah. So I think he'd want her to, like, view him with respect as a regular guy, just a normal guy. Yep, knew it. I'm afraid that I'm going to start seeing him as a regular guy. Changing my feelings would be betraying Roos. I'm aware of the continuation of the haze from this morning, and a bitter taste spreads throughout my chest. No, that day will never come. Never. I averted my gaze to cover my inner turmoil. I was anxious that I'd done a poor job of hiding it, but unexpectedly Suren didn't pursue the matter. He brushed the blood off his blade, turned his back, and walked away. Suren?
You go on ahead. I got things to do.
Huh? Yeah. As I follow him walking away with my eyes, I understand. The excitement of the battle had paralyzed my mind, but the corpses of Suren's subordinates were lying in the square. Remembering the miserable reality of the situation, I'm at a loss for words.
Please, just go.
For a moment, I thought he might be crying, but there was no anger or sadness in his face that I glimpsed from the side. Or maybe it's just that he grieves differently than I do. I felt a warmth that could be described as compassion in the eyes that reflected the corpses, and my heart ached deep in my chest. It hurts, and I find myself thinking about Suren's feelings, even though I don't even know why. I wonder how many subordinates Suren has lost so far. Okay, I'll go home first. I took the woman who had been sitting and headed for the exit. As I was leaving, I heard a voice whispering something behind me, and I almost turned around. Ah, that's not something I should hear. It was words of honor and a farewell to their honorable end. I tried my best to not listen to the mournful sounds that entered my ears. After soaking in the hot water to remove the dust from the battle, I threw myself onto the bed. As the tension in my body broke, I felt the fatigue weighing on me even more heavily. I felt sleepy and closed my eyelids.
Mrs., you mind?
With his voice, I remembered that I had pushed him into a difficult situation. For Naran, his most important duty is to protect his superior's wife, but I'd made him bend to my wishes. Maybe he was angry with me. Yeah, come in. With a bit of awkwardness, Naran entered and asked in an extremely normal tone.
What are you gonna do for dinner?
Ah, come to think of it. I'd completely forgotten due to everything that had happened, so come to think of it, I hadn't eaten yet. I was about to answer that I would eat, but I remembered something else. What about Suren?
Bro's gonna be late tonight, so he said to eat without him.
I see. I could see from Naran's appearance that he was having a difficult time, and I felt heaviness in the pit of my chest. I wonder how Suren feels now as he's forced to deal with the situation. I recall him not showing any sadness, resolutely giving orders to his subordinates. Am I feeling sympathy for him? I feel like it's only natural to feel sympathy for him as a human being, but there's a voice saying I don't need to feel sympathy for the enemy. The two are at odds in my mind. But Suren did protect the Roos woman. I should be thankful for that. I'll thank him properly once he returns. Yeah? As I was busy working things out internally, I was slow to notice Naran's serious expression. The unnatural silence is jarring, so I prompt him to continue. What's wrong?
I heard something strange.
What is it?
That the incident this time wasn't an accident, but something someone caused intentionally. Just a rumor.
What?
It's just a rumor, so don't tell Bro about this.
But you brought it to my attention. Why? Yeah. This music, though. Even as a rumor, that's unsettling. If it's true, it's quite a problem, as people died. Supposing that were true, who'd do such a thing? Why do I have the awful feeling that it was Shalu? Why do I have, like, a really bad feeling like she was involved in that somehow? I could just see her being like, all these women are poisoned, they'd be better off being eaten by these monsters or something. I hope I'm wrong, but I just got, like, this weird gut feeling.
The men at the event were some pretty bloodthirsty military officers who seemed to be more loyal to Bro than to the king. And lately, they've been rebelling against the king's methods. And this is just a rumor, but they've even thought of rebelling and making Bro the king.
Okay, so Toya did hint at that when he talked to Suren. Suren doesn't seem to want to be king, though. He does want to be an aristocrat, but he's almost looked pained at the idea of becoming king in place of Toya. So I don't think he's for rebelling against Toya. They're plotting to overthrow the royal family?
Of course, Bro would never do such a thing. But it's true that there are people who want that. Lord Toya's a good guy, but he's trying to change policy direction kind of forcefully.
A military officer who wanted that died this time.
Yeah, so this might be wild speculation, but there are rumors that the king's allies were behind this. Mrs., what do you think?
What do you mean?
Lord Toya and Bro are friends. Do you really think he could be plotting Bro's assassination?
I don't think Toya would, but I wouldn't put it past Noel. Noel's got lots of sticks in the fire. Naran bit his lower lip as if holding something back. It was as if, rather than asking for my opinion, he wanted me to squash the rumor. But it is true that the king didn't show up for the very event he planned, which is odd. Even for a reason such as official duties. Official duties. Somehow I remember something that stuck with me. Repeating official duties over and over in my head, I realized the true reason behind my discomfort. There's my girl. Yes, we do not trust Noel. Noel is one of Toya's allies, isn't he? Noel, who wears his self-respect as if they were clothes, wouldn't fail in his duties as the political assistant to the king. It's hard to believe that he wouldn't have the oversight to schedule official duties at the same time as the banquet. But that can be, can it? Would he really create a situation where the precious women could have died just to get rid of some obstacles? But could he have anticipated that Suren would put his life on the line to protect the women? No. Looking even further, could he have known that the strong Suren would survive while the obstacles would perish? I feel goosebumps all over my skin. It was wild speculation, but I shivered as those icy eyes stared back at me.
Mrs.?
I have no idea. Naran is so honest that if I tell him, it might make his future interactions with Noel unnatural. Now, not knowing where the bushes are and where the snakes are lurking, it's best not to make any careless remarks. I like that expression a lot. Not knowing where the bushes are and where the snakes are lurking.
I see.
Yeah. I don't know. But what I do know is... the internal situation of Nasla was shaky enough that rumors were flying.